Well, tonight we're supposed to have Brian Allen, and he is the former editor of Phenomena magazine. And we were going to talk about a lot of things, and I don't know where Brian is. Michael is having a hard time getting on. So while I check behind the scenes and see where these people are, Stacy and Zandine, can you go ahead and talk about some paranormal stuff while I'm busy trying to get Brian or Michael online here?
All right, we can do that.
All right.
All right, good
So,
luck.
oh yeah. Well, Stacy, tell us about the castle behind you.
Oh, yes, castle behind me. All right, so this is my family's. Well, there we go. It doesn't work. Anyway, over that way. There we go. My family's castle. So we'll talk about that. My family is based out of Scotland. We are the Grant clan. Our motto is stand fast. Our flower is thistle, which we think of as weeds over here. It's for my mother's or my grandmother's side, my mother's side. The Winkworths is how we're connected to the clan castle. We have also got Grant Town, so we have a whole town named after our family. Um, so the major story about this castle behind me is that when my grandmother and my mother came over on the boat to California from Australia, my mother was only 3 months old. My grandmother married a Texan named my grandpa Lee. He was over there for World War II. And they met up, they fell in love, and they had my mom. They got married over in Australia, and they had my mom. And my mom was 3 months old when they came over on the boat from Australia to California. And they'd all settled in. My grandpa had gotten a house for them, which they were in almost their entire lives. But my great aunt, I'm guessing, had gotten a hold of my grandma and asked her if she could go over to Scotland to claim our castle here, this right here. Well, they just spent all this money, so there was no way that they had enough money to go over and claim it. Well, a few of my cousins had gotten the home and they tried to turn it into a bed and breakfast, something along those lines, something weird, but it didn't work out for them. So in 1983, they sold our family castle to a private owner. Yeah, so that was kind of sad. My aunt and uncle, Chris and Chrissy, from my grandmother's side, went to Scotland a few months ago, and they took this picture of the Grant clan castle in Grantstown, Scotland. And they weren't able to go up and do any more because they're not doing like tours or anything like that in it because it's privately owned. And there's a big sign out there that says it's privately owned. And I said, well, you should have just walked up to the door and knocked on it and been like, hey, you know what? This is our family's castle. Can I take a look? You know? But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So, little cool little piece of Scottish history. I was really excited about talking to Brian about some of the lesser known urban legends and paranormal stuff that happens in Scotland. So, kind of bummed. But that's my story.
I, that's very cool. Actually, that's like there's a house out here on the it's in Westboro, or actually, excuse me, Hillsboro, where Bing Crosby used to live, and it's called the Caroline's Mansion. And it's like they
Oh,
said it's the only one of its kind out here on the West Coast. It has flying buttresses, all this marble. I mean, it's like
oh,
it's an epic, it's an epic building with a moat around it. But we used to go there when I was a kid. Like we drive out there, and people, it looked like it was haunted. Just when you look at it, it just feels we never saw
Mhm.
anything or heard anything. But there was a security guard that was watching it, and he invited some girls up in there,
Uh-oh.
and yeah, and he got in trouble, and he caught a case
Mhm.
there, so he hurt one of them. So there was that story, and then I had a friend who actually told me about the place. He said that another time when he went there, they used to go in there and party, and there was an elevator that just hadn't moved in like 100 years. They said, it was just cobwebbed out, rusty, wouldn't move or
Wow.
anything. And then they said that one night they were partying in there, and that the thing moved, and that spooked them. They never went back. But they remodeled it now, so now it looks like a real queen or king's residence because they've
Wow.
they've remodeled it, the floors, the carpet. It's beautiful. It's called Caroline's Mansion. So if you get a chance, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that would be so cool. Are they like allowing tours or anything in there?
They
Or
are, they are now that it's
okay.
fixed up. Hmm. And
And where's
it
Nice.
was
where's that located at, Zending?
it's in Hillsborough, California.
Hillsborough.
Huh.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna write
all the
that
rich
down.
all the rich people live. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Have
why
you
we've
guys
never
ever
been around there.
have you guys ever been to the Hearst Castle?
No, you know what? My dad, my brother, everybody's gone except me, and they've been several times, But I've been wanting to go there.
Yeah,
We
that's
had, yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to that. That was one place that I did want to go, and I was kind of upset that I wasn't able to. So, Winchester Mansion was another one I want to go to. But if
oh
this over at Hillsborough, if there's a mansion over there, Clark's is what you said it was?
Oh, it's called Caroline's Mansion.
Oh,
Caroline.
Caroline. Sorry,
Oh yeah,
sorry.
no, 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 that's
Yeah,
fine. And they have actually really nice pictures of it. The Winchester Mystery House, that's a trip. It's built like a regular house, not like you think. It's
hmm
not like it's sprawling, but it's not a big Gothic like building. But the
right,
interesting thing about that is you see all the false pathways and things she built, like supposedly to trick the ghost. And so
right.
that's really interesting. Although recent times I have heard something new about why she actually constructed it like that, and it wasn't supposed to be
Really?
supernatural. But it's been there for years. You can't tell people that. So I don't know what these other people are talking about. The Winchester Mystery House to me is haunted. But I do have a friend from Sunnyvale. Now Winchester Mystery House is in San Jose,
Right.
and Sunnyvale is like maybe 15 minutes from there. It's like
hmm
Silicon Valley. But I have a friend that he was always talking about UFOs and things that he had seen and everything. But
hmm
he he ended up he went to the Winchester Mystery House one day, and this is after all these stories he was telling me, and he swore to God that he saw a red orb, and he thought he saw the lady, and he was so spooked he thought it was following him around that house, and he
Oh,
thought it was getting
wow.
attached. But when he got home, his mom and dad said they saw something red following him as well. And they are straight shooters. These guys, his
Ooh,
parents, they're so sweet, and they said, I don't know, Bobby was pretty scared. It was something red
wow.
following him. So um,
How
yeah,
fun
the
is that?
Winchester Mystery House.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have Michael. Is he still on?
I'm here.
Michael.
Hey,
Hey,
Hi.
Mike. All
How are
right.
you guys?
all
Man,
right.
yeah. Woohoo!
I'll tip my hat. How you doing?
We got the man.
Time to
My
rock and
my
roll.
disappearing hat, which is weird.
Hey, you guys
I
remember
want one.
the last time we did a show with Michael, he did a reading and we lost that footage.
Ah!
So since we have Michael here,
Oh
let's
no.
let's start with Stacy and do a reading on her, then Zandine and then myself.
If that's
Okay.
okay, is that okay, Michael?
I wasn't prepared, but I can do it, of course.
Michael, I don't need a reading. That's fine.
Michael, you can do a
Are
lot.
you afraid that I'll
Oh,
read something you don't want to hear? Oh my.
No, no. Matter of fact, no. I feel I got more authority on that. I don't. I feel your power, but I don't feel
I've been
authority.
I've been doing it for
ah,
almost 50 years. I don't
That,
think
that, that,
so.
no, that's fine. I mean, there's God, but you're not a God though. You know what I mean?
You don't know
I
who I
feel
am.
authority to no.
Okay,
Okay,
I
I'm
know what you're
leaving.
saying.
You're a god.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're
Oh
saying there.
God. Oh
No,
my.
no, no, no. I'm just
I've been
messing with
doing this for over 50 years, and I don't want to hear your authority more than I am. We're all equal.
No, I'm
Everybody
not
is
authority.
different.
God is authority. No, no, God is authority. I
God
go
is
Which
for that.
authority, is
one?
what he's saying.
I'm pagan. Which one? Which God?
He's polytheistic, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which God are you
That might
talking
be true,
about?
but I'm talking the one beyond the footnotes, the one beyond the footnote, the ones that the ones that the Khoi worship, the Khoi San, 140,000 years old, much older than you.
Dang.
That's
Well,
what I'm
we
talking
hope
about.
so.
The Khoi San, who worship a supreme being. They didn't even give it a name. Okay, and they were directly connected, not with this footnote and this
Much
internet stuff we
older
have
than
today.
me.
We'll hope they're older than you, huh, Michael? I
Yeah,
don't know. He's
older than
pretty
I
old,
am.
Zanbean,
Yeah.
so I'm
Let me put it
playing.
this
I'm
way.
sorry, Michael.
You
I'm
know,
just
Barry
giving you a hard
Manilow says
time.
that song, I've been alive forever. Will I have?
We're all
Hey,
old souls.
It depends
Yeah.
on what dimension or what energy I've been part of.
Right,
Uh,
right.
And I listen, I don't challenge anybody else, but I also don't say my way or your way is better than
right.
anybody else's. That's
No.
right.
absurd. That's completely
Yeah.
absurd.
Yeah.
No one has dominion over anyone else. No one. We are all on our own paths. We all travel our own dimensions, our own ways. So yeah, you do what you will, and that shall be your whole energy. I'll do what I do, and I
Oh yeah,
don't
no. You just
judge.
asked me about a reading. You just asked me. You said, "Was I scared?" And I told you I wasn't. And so you didn't like my
Well,
answer.
some people are.
Other than that, it didn't have anything to do with anything. You just didn't like my answer.
Somebody, you know what? It doesn't matter. It really
It
doesn't
doesn't.
matter. You
It
know,
doesn't.
I
I
asked you
just
if you
told
were
you I
scared.
didn't want a
Listen to
reading.
me.
I just said I didn't want a reading, and that's all. And you said, "Am I scared?" That's how this started. So let's not go any further than it is. I'll go ahead and listen to what
You're
you have to say.
right. Let's
But yeah,
not.
right.
Because some people are afraid, and that's the only reason I asked you that.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm not afraid. I told you it's about authority for me. So, and that's what I said. I'm not afraid. It's about authority and who I want to tell me about my reading, what I would
It's
legitimize
not
and listen
about
to it in.
authority. It's about your own past lives.
No, for
That's
me it
all.
is. You're a pagan. You have different beliefs. For me, it's about authority. I can tell you what it is about for me, not for you. For me, it's about authority and who's telling me if I would accept it or not.
It's not about authority. It's about life,
For
past
me,
life.
it is. For me, it
Okay.
is.
Then you know what? Let's agree to disagree and leave it at that.
Yes,
So
that's
Yeah.
all
noted,
I was
Pete.
saying. Hey, look, I just didn't want a reading. That's all I
And
said.
that's fine. I
Okay,
won't.
all right.
Okay.
Blessings.
Thank you, sir.
Let's move on. Okay, Michael, definitely. I know Stacy would love to have a reading. So, uh, can we do a reading on Stacy?
Give me a time. I have to detox, as it were, and yes, I can.
Uh,
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about something else other than that. So we'll go
Yes.
from there. We were talking about before you came on, Michael. We were talking about like paranormal stuff and haunted houses, like the Winchester Mansion. And I was telling him about. I don't know if you saw any of it. This castle behind me, right here, is my
Quite
family
beautiful.
castle.
That's
Yeah, it's my
beautiful.
family castle. Well, it used to be. It's not anymore. Technically, it is because they sold it out of family in 1983. So it was kind of disheartening, that part of our history and part of our past was kind of,
We have
sold
a
off
manor.
to the highest bidder.
My family had a manor in England, Waterton, it's called, and it's in Chelsea, and it's on the island of Chelsea. Long, dull story short, my uncles, my father's relatives, sold it because of the taxes in England, and they made it into like a mill, a clothing mill now, and it was right near Thomas More's The Moor, and which is now a parking lot. So I know how you
Oh,
feel.
no.
It's very upsetting. We had that place since Henry VIII, and
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So you know how it is. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of disheartening when you lose something that's such a
I never
long
got to
part of
go
your
to this.
history.
Yeah, I never got to go to the place. I was planning on it, and my uncle Alfred said, "Don't bother. We've just sold it, and it's going to be torn down," which is even more ridiculous. But it was an Elizabethan house,
Sad.
and they tore it down. So yeah, I know how you feel. I wish they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. But at least, we've got the memories of places that we've never seen. Even
But you've got a
though
lot
we
of,
never saw it.
but Stacey, you've got a lot of energy there and in Europe, all over Europe. And that's what I see. But also, I get from you always India. And it's strange, but it's very far back in time. Yeah. And you weren't in
Hmm.
India, you were brought there. And the energy I
Hmm.
get is, well, he or she, I can't, I'm trying to look, but what I see is probably somebody who was brought in as a servant and pirated and brought over there. The people I believe
I
that
can see
brought you
that.
there were Portuguese.
Hmm.
And that's I'm looking at something probably within the 1600s, so 1550, 1560.
I can
Um,
see that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's the person is being. I'm sorry, it is Persian, but it's I mean Portuguese. But I also see people that were Turkish bring and you were kidnapped, and it's a young man, a janissary.
Dang.
Do you know what
I
a
never had luck
janissary?
with men when I was
Indian, Janissary Indian.
men just always, I always have problems with men in my life. My goodness.
Well, this is a person that what I'm getting is an energy that's against your will,
Mm-hmm.
brought there, um, learns the language, learns to work with children, um,
Hmm.
and then escapes, which is nice. I think you
Yeah.
escaped to, I believe I'm getting Sicily,
Nice.
which is easy enough, but that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, thank you.
1550, 1556, 1565, around there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that, overland with the Turks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
Hmm.
Portuguese was because I believe you were European. I'm going to say Germanic and captured and brought over because they wanted somebody who was lighter skinned, lighter haired, and would please the potentate, whomever he was. He's some kind of a governor of an Indian province, very
That's,
wealthy.
wow, that's crazy. I never would have thought that it was anywhere even near, kind of that area. Even though I know I was like one of my first lives, I was Egyptian and I'd gotten sacrificed when I was in one of my first lives. And then I know I have some
Wow.
ties to the Greek, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's kind of close, isn't it?
That had
Yeah.
to be very far along, though, if you were sacrificed. The Egyptians, after the fourth dynasty, didn't do that anymore. They
Right. Yeah.
found
It
that
was,
human sacrifice, and you were probably um, what I get from that is, yeah, again, you're either a wife or the priestess, and what's happening is the pharaoh has died, and this is early on, probably first dynasty, so that's Zoser.
mhm.
Um, when his wife and when he died, they took the whole court with him.
Yeah,
It's a
that could have
Persian.
been it too. Yeah.
It was a thing that was done in Persia and in Sumeria, and actually the Hittites and the
Hmm.
Midiani and all of that early African tribes also did that in North Africa. They would bring them and have them in a circle, and they were all strangled or poisoned and brought into as the pharaoh
I
was
remember hearing
being.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what
remember
I'm
hearing
getting from
that.
that. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was what that was. The person was not, you were not willing to go. They just kind of said, well,
Mhm.
he's dead. You got to travel with him. It's kind of a
Yeah,
Vikingish thing too. They did that too. They always had a maiden. If a king was dead, the maiden or the family were taken with him.
that's kind of messed up, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it does much for your. It doesn't do very much for your um, descendants.
No, not at all. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember it was gosh, Paul, do you remember what year it was? Remember when you had asked me to do We touched on it last time Michael was around. You'd asked me to work with an author who is trying to write a book on how past lives cause uh, present problems, like with your health and your physical being. Like if you got ran over by a carriage over your back on your carriage, then your back would have problems in your next life and things like that. And we'd done a past life regression with her. She had a whole like a meditation thing. And do you remember
Oh,
that? God, it was years ago.
yeah, 2012, wasn't it?
It
Well,
had to been, yeah, sometime a long time ago. God,
I
we
remember.
have known each other a long time, haven't we?
Yeah,
many,
yeah.
many lifetimes. Yes, of
Oh my
course.
God. Hey,
I I
I always
feel
wanted to ask Michael. Michael, um, you're able. It seems like you're able to visualize the past. Um, when you do that, do you also see ancient aliens? I'm just kind of curious about that.
that is something that does come and does happen. And I also see others from other dimensions. But that's what we were talking about. I was going to tell the young man that's what I saw in him were other dimensions that were coming in, and that he's very powerful being, very powerful. And that I was laughing because I thought, well, there's so many different universes and so many different energies.
Mhm.
Like when I look at you, I see many things. I see Native American, I see Asian, I see Pacific Islander, and I also see South American things. All those, like right now,
And
I'm getting
you're totally
flashes.
correct. You're totally correct. I'm actually, well, my mother was Filipino, Chinese,
Mhm.
Mexican, Native American Indian. And I only found out about the
Fine.
Native American Indian is because I went to ancestry.com and they said, yeah, you got Native. And what's so weird is I did an investigation in Covelo, which was an Indian reservation, Native American reservation. I should be politically correct, but and I said, "Wow, we're the first paranormal group investigating this reservation." I said, "Why did
How
you
cool is that?
invite us?" And they said, "Because you're Native American." I go, "No, I'm not." They
Oh,
go,
Harry, all I have
"Yeah,
to do is your energy with that comes out so strong. I keep seeing you wearing buckskin and beads, and I see symbols drawn on your shoulders and neck, branded in um, with bone and also metal. Different kind of metals that they found, but burned in. They're not tattooed. They're burned. They're branded on.
Mhm.
That was the way they did this
Hmm.
particular people did it, and it's Southern Plains people. I see. They're not Iroquois. They're not out on the east. They're West Coast people or Plains people. I'm going to say as far as New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, that area. That's what I'm getting, and it's a very wide. Um, Range that this tribe had, or tribes, I should say. I would call them nations that were all connected. That's what I get from you, Paul. That's there. Well, what I'm also seeing from you, and it's spooky, is either Olmec or Toltec, and that's pre-Aztec, pre-Mayan peoples. And I'm seeing turquoise, and I'm seeing sacrifices. You're standing in a feathered robe and feathered capes and crown, and that's what I seek with you. And it's very strong. Um, you are not murdering or sacrificing people, but you are a shaman of some sort. There are herbs
Hmm.
boiling on a pot. There is you and four other people, one woman and three other men are inhaling these fragrances and things and making predictions almost like a pythia, like a definitely a shaman. He's talking. When I'm looking at you, I see you as a young man, and then I'm seeing you as an old man. And there are behind you, I don't want to call them grays, but I see
Oh.
entities behind you. One of them is clad in silver or gold. The other one has on. I want to say it almost looks like a turquoise, a robe or an outfit made out of turquoise. It's the material, whatever it is giving being, and I'm going to say he's male, energy to you, and he's able to transfer it to you through whatever he's putting in that boiling mixture.
Oh,
Um, it's kind
interesting.
of like they Hebrews call it manna from heaven, the
Yeah.
bread that falls from the sky, and that's what
Mm,
these
I
people are
remember
giving
that.
you. Yeah, manna from heaven, and
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing. That energy coming, that's provided. The nutrition they're providing for you is not for the body; it's for your mind and your soul. It's not. It's not food. It's I would call it psychic food in a way. It's an energy that you have that you may be carrying through you now.
Maybe that explains your obsession with aliens, Paul.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, they,
And also too, Michael also mentioned Pacific Islander, and if you look at my chart, I got Pacific Islander blood in me. It's like, and
it's there.
when I went to Papeete, Tahiti,
Um,
all
hmm.
the people in Tahiti were calling me cousin, and I said, "Do you guys call everybody cousin?" They said, "No, but you are cousin because you're a Pacific Islander." And
Yeah.
I told them, I said, "No, I'm not." But then when I did the ancestry.com, I was.
I want you to try to take a look at some of the things that the from Easter Island. I don't think you're part of that energy, but I think that will the tiki gods and such will trigger something in you because I do see that, and that's also part of the thing. You're getting a like a weird blending because I do see feathered robes, and the feathered robes are also like Pacific Islander, Polynesian.
Mm-hmm.
And
These
I am fascinated with Easter Island. I mean, the
You
myth.
are.
Yeah, yeah. So
You,
it's like that's interesting.
Well, I don't think Easter Island is not only is just human. I think truly that ancient aliens came there. God, I sound like Sukalos. The
Yeah.
energy,
Tupelos
yeah.
is born on my birthday, by the way.
Is one of your what?
No, he said sound like Sugalos, but
What'd you say, Zandine?
oh, he
Sucralosis.
it's the same. We have the same birthday,
Oh, what?
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
That's
When's
cool.
your birthday?
March 14th.
March
Ah,
14th.
no
Oh,
wonder.
we
Einstein is
missed
the
it.
same. Einstein's birthday too, March 4th. I believe Stephen Curry, Quincy
I see.
Jones.
And
Wow,
Yeah.
cool.
my birthday is Martin Luther King's birthday.
Ah,
Wow, that's beautiful. My
Mine is
dad,
hey,
My
huh?
birthday is Leonardo da Vinci's birthday.
Which
Oh, right on.
Capricorn?
Leonardo da Vinci and I have the same birthday.
And
You a
that's
Capricorn?
awesome.
Stacy Meyer's birthday is Pee Wee Herman's birthday.
Oh, that,
Hey!
well,
Hey, you.
so you got the gift of laugh.
Wow.
That gives you the gift of laughter,
Yeah,
after all.
there
Oh
you
my
go.
gosh.
Paul Rubens was a very
Everybody else got better birthdays than me.
Well,
I still think his death scene in Buffy was the funniest thing that ever happened.
Oh,
It takes
yeah,
him
Michael,
like
that
yeah.
makes you a Capricorn, Michael?
I'm Virgo, a
Oh,
hundred percent.
Virgo. Okay, that's
We are polarity, my friend. You and I
my
are
son is a
exact.
Virgo.
I
I
have
love Virgo.
seven. I have 7 out of 9 planets in Virgo. My lead house is Virgo. My midheaven is Leo, and my rise is Scorpio.
I'm Pisces Virgo.
Well,
Nice.
Pisces, that's what the energy is there. And I'm sorry if I was grumpy, but I feel so much wonderful energy and strong energy in you. And I wanted to pull it out because you're incredible. I get a Roman
Oh,
centurion. I know you don't want to see it, but there's a Roman centurion in you, and he's very powerful. And he was a lieutenant to St. Valentine. And that's the Christian epic in you, because that he was there, he was a martyr, and he was a person who refused to let the Roman Empire tell him that he couldn't have his religion. And that's you. You're very strong that way even now. I brought that out in you, and I didn't mean to, but I did.
I
Um,
got to read it for you. I got to read it for you. As you were talking to me, I said, this is a very loving, very loving individual. Very wise, has a lot to give. If you allow him to give that to you, very detail orientated. You're like so, and you're a good listener too. Even though we were going back and forth. I could tell because just the way you picked up the. But true to a Virgo, Virgo is my soul sign. We listen to each other. We do we do a lot of things together. My son is Virgo, and
If you were here, I would
Um,
hug you. Your
yeah.
energy is so beautiful, And I was like, here, this man I'm arguing with, and I really want to just talk to him because that's me. I'm a teacher. I'm a high priest, and my energy is to give. The in Egyptian, in which is my religion, the ancient Egyptian
Okay,
religion.
okay. Now I can resonate with that.
Okay, well, I'm called Hem Netir Tepi. It means the servant, first servant of the temple. And that's how I view high priest. I'm not the brouhaha, the boss, what have you. I may be the one that leads the group, but I'm also the first servant. I serve the all high power, and I also serve the people who do. So my connection to the all high, and that's how I call God. I don't,
Okay.
never mind all the Egyptian, Greek,
Yeah.
Roman, blah, 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 blah. Okay, those are the what humans call the watchers. You're a Christian, so you think of angels and all
Actually, you
those.
know what? I want to tell you my no. As far as Christian now, I've been raised in a Catholic church. I went to a
Okay,
Baptist. I went to Catholic school, raised in a Baptist church. Went to a Jesuit
wow.
high school, right, and studied theology. The whole long way. I mean, you don't get out of Catholic school not studying it every day,
Mhm.
getting tested every Friday, whatever. So I looked at all these books and different things. But see, the elephant in the room to me is this, and because you're on the Egyptian realm of things, you can really relate what I'm about to say. The problem is, as a black person, my slave owners that introduced to me Christianity, there's something wrong with that in itself. The elephant in the room, because you got people that
Mhm.
justify slavery, even in some parts of scripture in the Bible, which weren't translated like that to me. But when I look at the Bible,
Mhm.
reason why I said about the authority in Egyptians, because the societies before the Hyksos, before the Greeks or the Romans got to say Nubia or parts of Kemet, they had 30,000 years of scholars, research. They weren't just professional spear chucklers or bongo beaters. These people, even though they were older, they knew a direct connection. So I started going back to the indigenous tribes, and I didn't so much look at them as hooga booga like a lot of people do.
oh
And I
God, yeah,
wanted
I
to,
thank you.
and so with the Egyptians, and when you said the Egyptians, when you go back to Kemet or the people that were there before, I guess in 1900 BCE to 1543, you had the Hyksos there, but then it ran out. But before that, the stories that the Khoisan or different people had about creation and these different things, I just didn't want to discard them. So with the Egyptian realm, I mean, even Moses went to the University of Anu, was raised with
I
the
don't believe in
42.
Moses. I don't
Right,
believe in
right.
him.
See,
And I'll tell you
exactly. So,
why. He
and,
was
and, and I'm with
they
you
go
there.
on
I'm
and
with
on
you there.
about wait a second. They go on and on about him. Okay. First of all, the Pharaoh that the Hebrews were tossed out of was from
Right.
this Akhenaten. And what really happened was it wasn't that they were slaves. They weren't Hebrew slaves. There were no such thing. But I'll put it this way: they weren't, and they didn't. These are people that were building tents. How the hell did they know about how to build buildings? Cut me a break. The Egyptians, who were Arabic Africans, not white, not anything else. They knew because they learned about geometry, and I don't care about aliens doing what have you with that. To me, it was that the Egyptians worked their asses off to make it happen. And when Akhenaten built his solar temples, all the other people, because Amenhotep III, and for
I'm on
him,
tap. Hey, I'm on tap.
Amenhotep III, his father, Akhenaten's father, had his uncle, I guess you would say, is Tutmosis III, brought
Right.
in brought in Joseph. Oh, you have a cat. Like, you're cool. I have cats. I have a cat who's been
I have
dying to
Oh,
7
talk to
cats.
her. I
you
have
have
one.
7?
In any case, what I was going to say is that probably Tutmosis III, who was after Hatshepsut, Joseph came because there was a famine. And it's really funny. Every time there was something wrong in Judea, they ran to Egypt, but Egypt is bad, which always makes me laugh.
Hey,
And
everybody,
Hmm.
hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're almost running out of time. We're
Oh,
going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back and finish it up.
But I need a
Michael,
coffee break.
Christianity keeps borrowing from the Egyptians. I keep finding the Ba and the cow, so many things. Clay figures to keep borrowing everything. So that's where we're at.
We got to talk,
All
guy.
right.
Okay.
Don't
Okay,
forget
we
to
got
like, comment, and subscribe, everybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Thank you, Stacey.
We got 1 minute left, you guys. Tell us a
Oh,
one
one
minute.
minute.
Someone give us a 1 minute joke. Up, 57, it's 56.
What do you call 13 witches in a microwave?
Oh,
I don't
God,
know.
what?
An easy bake coven.
Hey, that's a good one.
Okay, knock knock.
Who's there?
Dwayne.
Dwayne who?
Dwayne the bathtub, I'm drowning.
You God. Oh, my
Okay,
Lord.
knock knock knock.
Who's there?
Isabel.
Isabel who?
Isabel on the
You guys
bicycle
want to do
working.
round two?
Yeah, round two. We're good.
Hurry,
That's,
Phil. They're doing
that's the
bad
voice.
jokes.
That's the voice of God.
It's one. Help.
Oh, he got us.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Part two.
this is the second round. Where were we left off at?
I don't
You know,
remember.
These
we were
two talking.
Michael was talking to us about the Egyptian, the whole how they just they changed everything how they wanted to, but he was explaining to us about the Egyptian lore and that
Well, the whole thing is there is an entity, an all high that's called Atum, that is not male, female, and there's no statues. There's nothing. Okay, Atum is what the Star Wars people would call the Force. And it's an energy that the Egyptians didn't understand as a physical being because it never was a physical being. It is the be all to end all to send all everything. And its energy is the power behind part of this element of the universe. The Egyptians, gods and goddesses, are all representations of forces that, and they are living beings. That's the other thing. But as I said a long time ago, when one of them passes on, which of course they all pretend to be immortal, someone else takes up the mask. If you're Anubis or Horus or Tehute, they put a mask and you guess what you see, but it's somebody else's body under that mask. And maybe it's 300 or 400 years later, or 3 or 4 thousand years later, but that's what I know is true. That's how their immortality is. Our We live if we're lucky 100, maybe if we're very lucky. The average lifespan for human beings these days is 71, right? About
Wow.
71, which means I'm in trouble. I got a few years and I'm gone.
You know, that when you say that, it is so scary because I saw a person and he was getting on a city bus and he was wearing a T-shirt and it said on the top it said birth and then school, work, death. And I'm going, oh shit, man, I'm on my last round here. That shit is scary.
Yeah, but
it
it's
is going to
true.
be.
I'm
But
66 years old. I've been here, all the way through all this time. I've seen six, decades, and I'm working on my seventh. And things have changed for the good and for the bad, but we've all got this world has cycles that we're going in. I
Mhm.
mean, look at it. The universal deities put energies into here a long time ago. We had volcanoes, okay, and then we had floods, and then we suddenly had what things in the water that were their first life forms, living, moving life forms.
Mhm.
Because I think crystals like this are also life forms. I really believe that, and
Well,
all that goes back and
I
forth and back and
think
forth. Of course it is. But all of that goes back and forth until finally they got the animals, which includes us, the plants, the whatever else is out there in this form right now. But I don't think they're finished. I mean, they're like, every couple of million years they go, yeah, it's kind of not working like this. Let's try it again. And everything gets
Mhm.
killed. Everything. And then all of a sudden something else comes back. Where's it coming from? You know, I was watching this show that Morgan Freeman was talking about how, suddenly these eggs were coming out of the one of the ice ages or one of those things. Let me put it this way. If they were millions of years old, they're not going to open. Something had to put them there. Something,
Hmm.
and I don't know what, but something had to put them there. Because let's face it, first there's a volcano. Then there's, 300 million degrees below zero Fahrenheit. And then all of a sudden these little eggs crack open and you've got birds. Where'd they come from? Come on. They didn't last through an ice age. They didn't last through a volcanic age. Some energy form had to put that there and was deciding, let's try this way. That's how I feel. How do you guys feel?
I mean,
You
what came first, the chicken or the egg? Yeah.
The dinosaur the chicken came out of.
but no, but no, seriously, Michael, you asked a potent question. If you listen to the snipers for the U.S. Army, um, some of these guys have done some of the dirtiest work based on I'm doing it for my country and everything that was told was correctly. A lot of those type of people are coming out saying, "Hey, listen, I think everything they tell us is a lie." Like they're not only questioning their missions now, they're questioning history, they're questioning everything. But there was a gentleman, a 95-year-old William Tompkins, who passed
I've heard of him, yes.
about 3 or 4 years ago. But they said that if you had any question, time travel, God, anything, this guy would bring a briefcase of black prints, and he pretty much would tell you, "Hey, we've already done this. We've been given the means to do interstellar business, but we use that for nuclear bombs." This guy sold some majestic papers supposedly at 18, and he's been he had a long life of this, and he said I hate to tell you guys, he said at 94, he said there's a pill that can make a woman 23 again and a man 27, and he said it's a spray. He says I'm on the list. He said will I ever get it? No. He says you probably have to be the elite of the elite to get it. But he said, everything you know about medicine, everything you know about religion, everything he said, it's all false. He said, I don't want to tell you that. But I mean, this guy, when I
Yeah.
looked up who he was, um, and I saw all the things he was involved with, I was like, wow, for him to say that. And then, you got that whistleblower, I believe Freddie Brown, from NASA has been saying, hey, that they're altering this reality and that the elite have their own parallel reality that they're living in, that we're being fed something. I keep hearing this so that's what's kind of been on my mind lately, because with the religion, I enjoy talking to you about the Egyptians and everything, all the powers that we entertain. But I'm starting to think that this whole shit is off.
Oh, I agree with you, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
something. I should be dead right now. 7 years ago, I contracted something called pemphigus vulgaris. It is an autoimmune disease. My mother had some of it, and I look like a walking lasagna. I had bloody, pulpy, horrible
Oh man.
like wounds all over me.
Oh
And
my God.
if I could, I had to sleep standing up. If you touched me, I would bleed. If I show you pictures, you wouldn't
Man.
even know it's me. And I
Oh,
took prednisone and doxycycline, but also enormous doses of vitamin C and vitamin E and other things. And the funny part is, this is supposed to be an incurable disease. Okay. I don't have any of it in my blood anymore at all. It's not in my system. So where'd it go? And how did it get there in the first place? They're
wow.
telling me that because I was grieving over the death, my parents died 3 months between each other, my father, then my mother. And, they said that
Wow.
my grief was so great that I incurred this autoimmune thing. Well, somebody had to put it there. Okay. My mother had what she thought was eczema. And pemphigus vulgaris is like if somewhere between eczema, lupus, and hemophilia. I mean,
Oh
I
wow.
literally, and
Oh,
my here I was, a quote unquote beauty advisor, and I looked like a leper. I was
Oh
gonna die.
no.
But you know, I knew that I said, I'm not done yet. And I made myself, and never mind the pills and the vitamins and things. And my dermatologist didn't know what to do with me. They, I
You
was
know,
a, I
some of
was a,
these,
I was a guinea pig.
Michael, some of these diseases are just so mysterious, like the Morgellons disease. I
oh my
mean,
God.
little
That's
fiber.
manufactured.
Yeah, I mean, where
I
the
think
hell did this?
COVID-19 was too,
Oh
obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was a
nuts.
gain of function. Yep.
And so was
Yep.
AIDS.
A gain
Yeah.
of function.
Yeah.
Yep. They
I
introduced
think
that
good
supply.
old Ronald Reagan had that manufactured, and then his son turned up gay and got it, and all of a sudden they were looking for a cure. Oh my!
Right.
Yeah,
How
they
about
gave it to the
that?
World Health Organization, the African kids. They gave it to the retarded kids. They gave it to the gay and lesbian population, and they gave it to the minorities. They thought they were slick with that shit.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
France, when it came to AIDS, let's just talk about that specifically. France actually had better medicine for it. My uncle contracted AIDS back when I was like 21. I'm 51 now, so 30 years ago. He had contracted AIDS, and his best friend was very rich, and he had told my uncle that if he could go to France with him, they had better medicine, they had better things to help him out. And my uncle refused. He was punishing himself. And it's hard when you watch somebody you love wither away like that. But
been there,
the
done
gentleman
that.
that,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
Believe me, I know. And
but
I wish I
yeah.
could. I wish I could give you a tissue for
Oh,
Stacey.
I
Yeah,
don't want to hear
Stacey.
it. Okay. But the gentleman that went over to France lived 10 years longer than my uncle did. And I also heard that they had a cure for cancer in France. So, what is it that they're doing that's so much different than here? I understand big pharma rules the United States, but how is it that they can find these cures and these helpful things and extend people's lives, and we over here are still catching up, playing catch up? I don't know. It was really hard for me to understand.
because you've got people that here in this country who are very, how do I put it? They're stuck in the 1950s and even the 1940s, and they don't want other people. Then can I be awful? They're
Yes.
little um, Christian white people, and they don't want anybody else to be progressed. They want their own little Dick and Jane and Puff and Scotty and all that are all in the weekly reader. They want all the people who are what McCarthy wanted. And I'm sorry, I'm gay. I'm a witch. I follow ancient Egyptian things, and I've got more races in me than the Indianapolis 500. So I'm offended by the way they want to do things. Okay,
Okay.
it's and everybody doesn't do things that my way is the only way, and I don't believe that. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many different peoples and different
Mhm.
races and different animals and things. There is no one way to do things. It's silly. And these people think that, that a rabbi that got nailed to the cross 2,000 years ago is the answer only. Well, I
Only,
got
yeah,
news.
only.
I got news for you people. After he got nailed to the cross, everything got worse. The Roman Empire, the Spanish Inquisition, slavery, every disease you can think of happened after. And if this person was the savior, wouldn't that be finished? I'm very
Listen,
controversial right
Michael.
now.
When you say
Listen.
that, Michael, even now, like we said, the quandary about religion. The thing of it is, if you talk to African scholars who've been studying for 60 years that live over there, by the now, that been there, and they look at other people stupid for not listening to the ancestors, they're like, hey, listen, their
Thank
story
you.
about Christ is different. The solar brotherhood might be the scenes, like what John the Baptist says. They said for them, Christ is Harake, from the family Ptah. So Ptah, when you look at the Shabaka Stone, he wrote about the original religion of some of the Kemet people. When he talk about
Remember, I'm Kemetic.
right. So when they talk about Ptah Matamon, when you talk about Ptah Matamon, everybody calls Mary Mother Mary. They call her Mariam everywhere else, but only in Africa is the name Sarah as Matamon. And that one family, they consider Jesus' name as Yeshua ben de Matamon, the son of Miriam of Ptah. So the thing of it is, they said it was a brother. They said it was a black man that
Of
they said
course he was.
they believe he
Look
didn't
where
die on
they
the
came.
cross.
Look where they came from.
And
Okay.
they, and they and they believe he didn't even die on the cross. They said Simeon, his apostle, when his disciples died on the cross, they didn't want him to do they didn't want him to get put to death twice. They said him and his wife, Mary Magdalene, fled Ethiopia. I mean, this is what the Africans are saying. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it, but they have a whole different
Right.
take. And they look at the Solar Brotherhood. They said it was Coptic Christians there when the Greeks and the Romans got there. It was Coptic Christians who believed in the Solar Brotherhood. They sent Christ with a message that wasn't so esoteric. They felt that the people unruly at the time. So what they sent them with was a message that everybody can understand. But their version of Christ, Harake, is different from. So if you look at Dr. Ben Yokanison, who applied at MIT at 16 and didn't get in, but at 60 something years old, he came back 50 years later, researched and showed them what real history was with the receipts. Stuff like Leo Weiner from Harvard, who will tell you, hey, look, the indigenous people pre-Columbian in South America were African. We have Carthage money from the Carthage Empire, different things that's just off. So, I don't care about the black history, if it's black first or white first. I want to know what the real history was. So if we're supposed to help you or you're supposed to help us, that's what I want to find out. How can we help? So the crazy thing about history, we're just finding so much shit now that it's like, how far does it go?
I agree. I'm sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to
No,
cut you off
I've been.
there, but
Listen, I got a big mouth. I'm going to shut up.
no, no, no.
I
No,
got
what I was
one.
going to say is I agree. But remember all the stuff that we were taught in school, and then all like science, just for instance, all the science stuff that we were taught in school way back when. And now they're saying, oh, and it took them forever. I remember when I was in my 20s, it took them forever to admit that they were wrong on so many things. And that's where our problem lies, is that when people get the actual truth. And unfortunately, when it comes to history, it's a little harder to prove unless you've got, whatever sitting right in front of you, some kind of a thing sitting right in front of you that's
When I
not
was
based on fiction.
when I was in fifth grade, my English social studies teacher, Mrs. Clark, who hated America, but she was English, said she went on and on about Lincoln freeing the slaves, and smart ass Michael, raised his arm and said, "No, it didn't. No, he didn't. The 14th and 15th Amendment freed the slaves." I said, "Nick, Lincoln just spit out the Emancipation Proclamation that someone else wrote anyway," and they immediately moved me to sixth grade. And she said to me, "Yeah, because I was way ahead of them, and they were upset with that. And they checked my IQ, which is higher than I want to talk about, and they didn't know what to do with me. I could read on a college level already by the time I was in fourth grade, and I was annoyed with the way the bullshit, like Columbus discovered America. What happened to
Oh,
the Native Americans ten
oh,
thousand years earlier?
okay.
Okay. Oh, they
Well, the
discovered
Vikings actually landed here first,
not
anyway.
only did
So,
they, but so did the Greeks. And
Look,
so did and
the
so did the
49ers
Egyptians.
found bones 150,000 years old, and they quickly took them off of display at Cal Berkeley, the
That's
Smithsonian
right.
Institute.
Right?
exactly, that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. It's all
You
cover up.
know, they found Viking things all the way up in Oregon.
Man,
Right?
so much stuff out of place. St. Louis right now is built over some kind of Egyptian city now, or Egyptian-like. There's so much of that in Cairo, Memphis, Tennessee, Missouri. I mean,
Yeah,
Yep.
why are you calling something Cairo in New York, or Cairo in New York State,
right, right.
or Memphis,
Right.
Tennessee, or it's baloney. I mean, we
Hey,
knew.
history is going to always be fucked up. I mean, even now in the present time, you have Attorney General Pam Bondi once said there was an Epstein list, and now there's
There's
no
none.
Epstein list. Trump is not on the Epstein list because it doesn't exist. But
Um,
did it exist or didn't it exist? We're always confused. So, how can history ever be right when right now in present time we're confused as all hell?
It's that
Yeah.
song, Paul Simon sang that song. When I think back to all the crap I learned in high school, it's a wonder I
Oh,
can learn it all. And that's how I
Yeah.
feel, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
It's all
really, I
I
mean,
know it
everything, like you said, take everything you learned and throw it out the window because it's
throw it
all
out the window.
bullshit.
It's
Yeah.
bullshit. Yes, it's
So that
freaking.
just kind of brings us down to like the individual person. What do we believe as an individual and live by that? That's all you can do anymore.
You know,
and that's right, Stacey. That's right. I mean, because let's face it, alien. If those elite do have alien technology where they're feeding us a simulated reality, and they keep talking about this, but the more you hear about it, it's like if we don't know any better, I don't know if ignorance is bliss, but I've been thinking to myself, at what point does a person become an ant to a giant? Like
Yeah.
um, do we become an ant where their activities are so far beyond ours that they don't even notice us, or do we become ants a level where they could just crush us because we're nothing or anybody? But at some point, there's a threshold I've been thinking about where we just are like ants to those people, whatever they're doing. And I'm trying to figure out, like, there was a book called The Blue Adept by Piers Anthony, and he was a police
Read them.
officer and a lawyer. Okay, you know who I'm. Okay, so that
Yeah.
book, that series, the Blue Adept series, he talked about some citizens, elite people that were living in this world where they could pop in on you at any time,
Hmm.
from doing Lord knows whatever they could murder, they could sex, they get high, they can do whatever they want, and they would pop. I guess would be dimensional. They would match your
Yeah.
vibration. They come in, so you might be playing chess, and they pop in like, "Hey, what the hell are you guys talking about?" But it hit on that theme of alternate reality, like the industrial complex. So I don't know.
yeah,
Well,
and yeah, and you're talking about the zoo hypothesis, where the aliens are looking at us like we're zoo animals. Right around.
or
Back
a
when I
bad
was
joke.
back when I was a teenager, we didn't have all this crap and phones and stuff, but you guys
Yeah,
know. So we would sit out on our cars or our friends' cars and we just look at the stars. And from even when I was young, 13, 12, 13 years old, I always said, there are a bunch of aliens up there, and each one of our lives is a TV program for these people, for these aliens. So they would watch our lives, just turn the channels, funny times, hard times, everything else. And that's what we are to the aliens. We're just another TV program. So
I for,
I agree with you, Paul.
I
Yeah,
forget the movie it was in, what it was, but there's a movie where they keep changing the scenery and moving people around and moving bodies around. And, one minute you're at school and the next minute you wake up and you're in your bedroom and, somebody dies, but they don't die and they're another store or another thing. And it was a weird movie, but I think that's really what happens. Like I have two ghosts here. I have a Confederate soldier who stands guard in front of my bedroom door, and now there's a World War One. I don't know what he is, but every once in a while he flashes. He's got blonde hair. He's got light skin, and he's I don't know what. All I can see is a khaki colored uniform, and he's looking at me like help. And I think he's stuck magnetically. There's a tree in front of my bedroom window, and I think he's stuck there. There are kind of military fields and things here in Savannah, and Savannah has all kinds of like
Savannah's big for that. Yeah.
Savannah,
magnetic.
Georgia.
Yeah, it's where I am.
What you
But
know? What
Savannah,
I want to say? I want to say, Michael. I have a friend, a dear friend that lives in Savannah. He's a school teacher, and the thing is he's gay, and the problem he said he had is he can't be himself in Savannah. Like he takes his earring out. He came out here. He actually taught a class for my son. Really nice guy. He came out here. I said, "Why don't you come out to San Francisco and find your husband, man? I mean, they don't chip like that." He says, "Hey, if it only was that easy." He did actually come out here. He met somebody that he really liked, but he said that the guy lives somewhere else, so it didn't work out for him. But he was
Aw.
telling me about Savannah. He said, "Man, he was telling me that he couldn't wear his earring. How is it for you? You know, being gay in Savannah, is that?
Hey, well, I'm a double curse. I mean, I've got a pentacle on, and I wear Egyptian jewelry. I'm out of the broom closet and the gay closet. I don't hide nothing from nobody, you know. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm from Brooklyn originally, and then Long Island, and I also lived for a long time in the West Village. So, I mean, I'm so far out, I'm back in. I mean, you know what I mean? I don't. And if they talk to me and they're like, "Oh," I go into these spiritual shops and I'll come out with I'm a witch. And they're like, "Oh, like don't tell anybody." And I'm like, screw that.
Screw that.
They're all so polite, and everybody here, even the gay community, is walking on eggshells. I'm
Wow.
gonna say if you're gonna walk on eggshells, crush them and use the calcium. Because it's all
Yeah.
baloney. I won't hide who I am. I'd probably burn me at the stake, and I don't care. I'm always going to be Michael. I'm not going to hide. And you're right though, because all the gay people here are all like, shh, don't be yourself. And even if you're a Jew or if you're a Muslim or whatever, if you're not a Baptist, they don't want to hear you from you.
You
It's
don't want to
very
hear anything.
very, very backwards, and it's
That's
interesting.
sad.
I mean, they're all walking around with their mint juleps and their fans, Oh my God. They were that's
Right.
the way they are in town. And I just found a new apartment that I'm probably gonna move to in town. And I'm gonna be with all the Spanish moss and all the trees and the magnolias and all that nonsense. And I'm like, hey guys, I'm gay and I'm a witch and I'm out. And they're like, I mean, I've been rocking the Casbah. They don't know what to do with me,
Rock the
and I'm a
cat.
Yank, and I'm half Yankee because my mother was born in Greensboro, North Carolina, and my
Oh
father
my.
from Brooklyn. So they don't know what to do with me.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
I've
Savannah.
always been as shy as a volcano, you know?
I think we get to a certain age in our life. Mine was 35, where you just don't give a shit anymore what
Yeah.
anybody thinks about you or whatever, and you're going to live your life. And whoever, if they either love you, and if they love you, great, stay in my life. If you don't like me, move on down the road. I don't need you anyways,
You know
And I
what?
think
So Stacy, and you were talking about who was it that died of AIDS in your family?
my Uncle Dan.
Okay, your uncle. My brother, my half brother, Joseph
Which
Anthony
is your
Sutton,
brother.
yes, he died of AIDS.
I'm
And
sorry.
I was
Sorry to
so,
hear that, bro.
oh, thank you guys. But I was so proud of him. He died in 1987. And you guys are the first ones I've ever told this to, but he was bisexual
Mhm.
and he was very successful. When he was a little boy, he used to play with money all the time. And he was a self made millionaire by the
Wow.
age of 36.
Wow.
He had, uh,
Wow.
he had hairstyling shops in Vallejo, Walnut Creek, and San Francisco. So he was
Wow.
making all this money. And the girls that worked at his shop, once a year, he would take and fly to Hawaii. And also, too, they would take a group photo, which would be published in Vallejo Times.
Wow.
Wow.
I was so impressed. I mean, this Joe was like super handsome, fun, energetic, everything else. He was a amateur magician, all kinds of cool
Wow.
stuff. Knew how to play some pool.
Wow.
And
That is
then
so neat.
all of a sudden, I hear a story that he has HIV. Then I
Yeah.
hear a story he has AIDS, and
Yeah.
bam, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a shocker because I really looked up to him
Yeah.
and just like,
But
wow.
it didn't make you feel no different about his sexuality, though, right? You didn't care about that, did you?
Oh, no, 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 no. I didn't care about that. No. But it was just so sad. I mean,
Yeah.
AIDS really destroyed a lot of good people. There
Oh
was
my
Yep.
God.
It does.
so many good people. And when they took my brother, I was devastated. I was,
Mm.
Could feel that, Paul. Could feel that.
And the
yeah.
fact that I believe that that's an engineered disease, engineered to knock out, as he said, minorities and gay people, no matter what color you were or whatever, and anybody else. And they were also trying to knock off Africa completely. They blamed the whole thing on Africa, just like they blamed COVID on the Chinese. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it was made right here in the good old U.S. of A.
Well, it was at Chapel Hill University with two Chinese scientists and two Americans. They got 619,000 for a gain of function trial. It was COVID-19. By the time they finished, the thing was 19. You know, they already had precursor to SARS. I mean, they even did a neutralization analysis. But when they were giving the mice, these humanized mice that could get it, like hit the ground and running, they realized that they looked like they were doing good, and then all of a sudden their immune system would turn them. They knew this for a long time. Everything
Mhm.
that would happen, they knew the whole,
Well,
the whole schematic how it would play out. And you know what? They've got a another level 5 disease that's kept in a level 2 or 3 facility that broke out just like supposedly COVID did. I mean, it's going to happen again. It's going to be worse.
oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
definitely.
Well,
Oh,
get this. Because I had the pemphigus and because I was dosed mega doses of doxycycline and well, the other the steroid. I forget which one they anyway, I was massively dosed with these two steroids. When my husband got COVID twice, and it actually caused him to have a heart attack the second time, first time,
Mhm.
I was immune. I can't get COVID if I
Wow.
was. I can't. It was prednisone and doxycycline, and in huge
Oh, wow.
doses. Yeah, I was supposed to take
Wow.
60 milligrams. They had me giving 100 milligrams, and I mean, I was, it was like crazy. And the
Wow.
huge 4 and 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C, like every couple of hours. But anyway, the disease died. It was supposed to be a virus or what have it died. And
Yeah.
he's laying there next to me with 104 fever, freezing and cold. And I'm the one putting him in the ice and putting him in and giving him, what did they give me? Tylenol and Robitussin. That's all they gave him to heal him. And he didn't get when he got over the first time, and then they had the vaccine finally,
Yeah.
and he had that, but by then it had mutated. So he got the old
Mhm.
virus, big deal. He got it again the second time. It was just as bad. And when he healed, that was 2020, the end. He had ended up with a heart attack, and they had to do two stents and two
Damn.
angioplasties to open up the. Anyway, he died 5 days later, and he died in sleep right next to
Um,
me, and I
Oh, I'm
I
so
was
sorry, man.
horrified. But so I've been alone since 2020
Ah.
because I knew, I was. But the thing was, I should have gotten the COVID too, but I didn't. I couldn't, and I
right.
because I had that other condition. I'm going to call it a condition. I should have died, and I didn't. My immune
Interesting.
system is super strong now, stronger than
Yeah.
it's ever been. And my whole body went through hell. I got really fat. I lost all kinds of bone in my mouth and my face. And you know what? Now, all of a sudden, I'm stronger than ever been in my life
Wow.
because of the change. So I've met something inside me morphed. And I don't know
Hmm.
whether it was alien or Mark and Phyllis seem to think it was, or some other energy. But I ain't going anywhere. I would have, but I'm
Not
not.
for a while. Not for a
you know,
while.
and with them destroying the Brazilian rainforest, I mean, there's a lot of hidden viruses and
Herbs.
diseases
Yeah.
in those rainforests. And
Mhm.
when they destroy it like that, it brings it on there. And Gaia, Earth, I think Earth is a living entity. And
Of
when that
Yeah.
course.
happens, when that destroys the Brazilian rainforest, what happens is we're like cockroaches, and Earth
Mhm.
wants to destroy those cockroaches. So,
I mean, yeah, that's why Mother Nature's given us hell. I
oh,
mean,
oh,
That's why the whole pagan world is trying to lift this negative veil. I don't care as long as you don't worship like a cantaloupe, but people, we're trying to put the energy out there to lift the veil over the galaxy. It's not
mm,
just this planet, and that was the problem with all these. with polytheists and monotheists. Their God, as it were, is only for the earth.
Mm.
Wrong. We're, we're
Well,
universal.
it's funny you say that. The Dogon and the Yoruba, they were all about the cosmology. They had
That's
Amma,
right.
who was masculine and feminine, and he had Exilis. It had the digitary Exilis, which was they had eight beings. Mercy, hope, love. These beings that Amma made, and they said, "Well, why did you give us this one seed for the people?" And he says, "Well, that's like the divine spark." They said that's indicative of like this little light of mine. I'm let it shine. They're saying you have a spark of the divine in you, and so they
Mhm.
try to live with no blemishes. But like you were saying, the cosmology, they looked at Amma as part of all the multiverses. They didn't just confine him to here. And henceforth, they also have the planet, the Sirius B planet, which a lot of French scholars and people said, oh no, some traders showed them where it was. They really didn't know, but they have so much cosmology and stuff about other dimensions, that it couldn't be that they just saw some traders and learned it. But I agree with you. The gods aren't limited to this realm.
And that's
Yeah.
the problem,
We got
you
20
know?
seconds, guys. We got 20 seconds. So,
Oh my goodness.
Stacy, tell the people how they can watch these shows.
On YouTube, The Waiting Room. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share as much as possible. We need those